There's one crop that goes a long way to self-sufficiency that you should plant in your garden. It's calorie and nutrient dense, it's easy to plant, and you can plant it with what you grab from your local grocery store. What is this miracle crop, you ask? Stay tuned to find out. And here's our miracle crop, your average, everyday potato. So the thing about potatoes are they're very nutrient dense, they're very calorie dense, they're a good source of starch and carbohydrates. They provide a lot of fuel for your body. So they go a long way for self-sufficiency and for feeding your family. So if you want to grow just one thing in your garden, it's a potato. The thing about potatoes is you can plant them relatively easily. You can go to your local grocery store and buy an organic bag of potatoes. It's very important that it's organic because the potatoes, generally speaking, are sprayed with a sprout inhibitor that makes them last a little bit longer and keeps them from sprouting. With certified organic, they are not sprayed with the sprout inhibitor. So when we go to plant them, they're actually going to sprout and grow potatoes for us. You could take this potato and you could put it directly in the ground and it would grow more potatoes. You could also take this potato and you could cut it in half or maybe even in fourths. If it's a bigger potato, maybe not this one. This one probably be half, would be about as small as you'd want to cut it. And then you could plant it in the ground and it would grow potatoes for you. You could plant your potatoes in containers like we do. We're going to do it in grow bags, or you could plant it directly into your garden. I prefer containers because they're easier to harvest. So you could do something like a 5-gallon bucket and make sure that you have holes on the bottom of it and fill that with soil. You could plant your potatoes in that. It would work very well. Or you could do what we're doing today, which is grow bags. So hang out with me and I'll show you how my kids and I plant our potatoes in grow bags. To get started, we're lining up our grow bags, and for us, we're using 5-gallon grow bags here. We have 10 5-gallon grow bags. A lot of people might use 10 gallons or recommend using 10 gallons. I found that 5 gallons is just enough for me to get a good potato harvest, and it still makes it easier to harvest as we can just pick up the bags and dump them over. They're not super heavy, but anything past that is just really heavy, and I don't want any wasted soil, so I'm using my 5-gallon. Here's the potatoes I'm using, red organic grocery store potatoes, like I said. And then the next thing we're going to do is begin adding our soil. Now I'm using an organic soil here, and it's a soil specifically for growing in containers, and I recommend that. It's already got a little bit of fertilizer added to it, so I'm not going to add any fertilizer to the soil to begin with. However, throughout the growing season, about every 2 weeks, I'm going to add a water-soluble fertilizer. As the potatoes begin to grow toward the end of the season, before the flowers die back, I'll probably increase that to once a week using a water-soluble fertilizer. I prefer organic and something with a lower NPK. I don't want anything too crazy. So here, as I begin to put the soil in the bag, I'm only putting it about halfway full. I'm only getting the bag about halfway full. This is important because we want to plant our potatoes very deeply. And I'm showing my stepdaughter here how to put the potatoes in and separate them out. This is actually just one potato that's been cut in half. And so we're putting 2 halves of the potato in the bag. A lot of people might just put one. This is what I had, so I put 2 in there. Now I might get some smaller potatoes just because I have 2 separate seed potatoes in the bag. However, I don't mind that. I like the small baby potatoes. You could do 1 and hopefully get larger potatoes by just doing 1 if that's something that's important to you. So what I'm doing, like I said, is just making sure that the soil is flat. It's about halfway full, and then we're going back through. I'm having my stepdaughter go back through and put the seed potatoes in the bag. Throughout the growing season, we're going to want to make sure that we keep this very well watered. So I talked about fertilizer, using a water-soluble fertilizer, but water is just as important. In my area, it's going to get really hot really fast. We're in Florida. Our summers are excruciating, and these potatoes hopefully will come to maturity before the summers get too bad. But even still, we want to make sure that we're keeping it watered every single day. That is important. 5-gallon buckets, 5-gallon grow bags, they're going to dry out really fast. So as we're putting the potatoes in the bags, it's really important that we keep them separated out as much as possible. Potatoes need quite a bit of room to grow. And like I said, this is actually, in each bag is one potato, it's cut into two, but even though it's cut into two, that's still two seed potatoes. So a lot of people will do something called chitting. I completely skip that step. And that's kind of like the process of cutting it and then allowing the potato to sit and spuds to begin to sprout. I completely skip that step. I just put them in the soil and I find they're gonna come up just fine. The next thing that we're gonna do is add soil over the top of the potatoes. Now you'll notice I leave a little bit of space left in the bag. This is important because I'm gonna add a mulch over the top of it to help preserve the water moisture and keep the bags from drying out quickly. Like I said, 5-gallon buckets, 5-gallon grow bags, they're gonna dry out really fast. That's why we're gonna leave a little bit of space and we're gonna add a mulch. I'm gonna show you my favorite mulch here momentarily. It's the mulch I use most often in my garden. When it comes to potatoes, straw would actually be a really good mulch to use here. I had a hard time sourcing any straw, and most of the time I have a hard time sourcing straw just because I live in the city, but straw would have been a really good mulch to have here. So here's the finished grow bags. Before we put the mulch on, we've added that soil to the top, as you can see, and I'm just kind of giving you a pan out view here. We have 10 grow bags. So here's the mulch I use. It's fine wood shavings. It's a type of animal bedding that you can find at your Tractor Supply. I actually got this one at Lowe's, and it works really, really well to preserve the moisture, to hold on to the moisture. So to kind of help keep the bags from drying out, we put this on the top of it. As we water, it will actually hold that water in the bags much longer than just having the soil. We want to prevent the soil from drying out and cracking. The last step we're going to do here is just water everything in. So I show you part of the process here of us watering, but we do actually go back and do a much deeper water than what you're going to see here. It's very important that you water deeply. These grow bags are, like I said, they're gonna just dry out really fast. So we're watering very deeply. I would suggest go and hold the water over it at least 10 seconds over each bag, probably every single day. And that'll give you a good amount of moisture. And during the heat of the summer, we're probably actually gonna have to water twice a day to keep our soil nice and moist for our potatoes to grow in. We're gonna know that the potatoes are ready to harvest when the flowers begin to die back and the foliage begins to die away and they start to look really ugly and beat up. Potatoes will produce a nice, beautiful foliage. And as that foliage dies away, it's gonna look really beat up when it's time for us to harvest. And that's how we're gonna know that it's ready. And that's it for our growing potatoes in containers video. The last thing I'll leave you with is this beautiful rainbow that we caught on camera as we were watering. The sun was hitting the water just right, and we caught this beautiful rainbow. I thought you guys might enjoy it, so I'll leave you with it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far in the video, first, thank you for watching. And second, please consider liking and subscribing. It will help ensure that you see all of our content as it comes out. It will also tell YouTube that you found value in this video, thereby pushing it out to more people. And if you found value in it, maybe somebody else will as well. Also, if you're new around here, please consider leaving a comment down below. We're trying to create community. I try to respond to as many comments as I possibly can, and I'd like to know that you're here and that you're with us and you're part of our community. I would like to just be able to say hello to you, so please leave a comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching.